Hello, here I am with a cosmic egg by my left ear. Yeah, so I'm a little frustrated tonight, which is kind of an all too familiar feeling. My inquiry today has been about why practice yoga? Why do any spiritual practice? I do a lot of practices. I do pranayama in the mornings. I do yoga asana whenever I get the chance. I have a chanting practice. And I've been wanting to teach more, and so I've really been looking at why teach? What is it that I want to teach? What's the value in what I want to teach? And so I was really inquiring into that today. And there's some very simple, very basic reasons why I practice. One is to be a nicer person. Something John Friend said once, and I'm going to paraphrase. John Friend of Anusara fame and infamy. He said, let every asana you do make you a nicer person. A happier person. A person who can be greater in the world. If your asanas are not doing that for you, why bother? And I really like that. It feels very true to the reasons I practice. And obviously, there's happiness. I was looking at some of my yoga books today to kind of draw inspiration and to delve deeper into this inquiry. And, there's a lot of talk about, connecting to the higher self and, piercing these layers. We're made up of so many layers. There's this physical layer that, is the first layer that we have awareness in. And then, we can refine our awareness to become more and more subtle and more expanded. But really, that's great, and I do love those explorations. But the truth is, at this point, after certainly 6 years of fairly dedicated Buddhist practice and over 10, 12 years of yoga practice, the nuts and bolts for me are that, I just want to be a decent human being. I just want to be nice to my kids more of the time and have more patience and, nicer to my husband. And, I seem to have no problem being nice to my friends. Like, they get a good deal. But those people who are closest to me, where there's the most rubbing up of myself against their selves, I want to show up better. And then there's what Pema Chodron says, which I'm going to paraphrase as well, which is, to this observation that we often come to our spiritual practice wanting to be better, and that there's this kind of subtle pressure on ourselves that we're not good enough. And so I love that too, to use our spiritual practice as this lens through which we can just accept ourselves as we are, in all of the kind of crappy messiness that we often show up with. So, thank you, Pema Chodron, for that gorgeous perspective. There's this desire to be better, which is very prevalent in certainly American culture, and I guess, Western culture in general. And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's one thing my teacher, Sophia Diaz, one of my favorite teachers, talks about is the impulse to grow, just like all those weeds in the garden, there's this unstoppable impulse to grow. Not only the weeds, but the beautiful trees and flowers and vegetables, all the amazing plants that the earth has an abundance of. We have this impulse to grow as well. And so I think that's partly what motivates my practice, is wanting to grow. But when I really look at the progress that I've made, sometimes I really have to wonder. And I just keep plugging away at being sweeter more of the time. That's the state of Rosy Moon on this day in a fairly new year, 2013. Let me know what you think. Why do you practice if you have spiritual practices? What motivates you?